Hello，歡迎大家又嚟到 B Property 啊！咁我今日又同阿 Nigel 傾開 commercial property。其實而家大家覺得即係疫情啦，commercial property 係一個好 risky 嘅投資項目。但係因為阿 Nigel 你都講過啦，佢一直都係做 wholesale furniture 嘅。佢身邊嘅朋友或者佢身邊識嘅人都係做 commercial property， 一直有投資開 commercial property， 升值升得好犀利呢幾年。咁俾佢講下點解而家個市場，尤其是曼城對於 commercial property demand 咁大，或者我哋有 Rebecca 可以訪問下 Nigel， 等佢講解多啲關於 commercial property 各方面嘅嘢。
Yes, so Nigel, the reason why we're here today is just talk about like what is your views on commercial property? Because I used to work for a distribution center, fulfillment center like Amazon.
Yes.
It's called eBay Enterprise. We work with a lot of like online e-commerce retailer.
Yeah.
We distribute their goods to the e-commerce clients.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a big boom in Manchester lately.
Huge. I know of two friends or colleagues, you might call them, who are from the Far East, and they have distribution centres in Manchester, quite big ones. One's 1,000 square metre, the other one's bigger. And what they do, as far as I know, what they do is they've got a team of manufacturers in mainland China and Hong Kong, and they basically sell in the Far East, control all the administration in the Far East, but the actual distribution to the whole of UK is in Manchester. And what I mean about distribution, I mean the containers come from the mainland China and wherever countries they come from, they come to the Manchester, they get offloaded into certain sections, obviously depending on what goods they are, and then once they get sold, they get distributed from that centre.
So it's like Amazon fulfillment center.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're selling on Facebook, they're selling on Amazon, they're selling on, obviously, one of the very biggest ones, they're selling on eBay. I mean, the question is, what do I think about the commercial properties in Manchester?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do I think about commercial properties in Manchester? I think it's a fantastic market. I think no matter if you have a small property or a large one, very easy to rent out and incredibly easy to sell. There's a huge demand in and around Manchester. Even in the suburbs of Manchester, Oldham, Rochdale, Bury, there's a huge demand for commercial property. Because what's happened since the lockdown, March this year, obviously we know internet has been growing year on year. But because of the lockdown, there's been a tremendous growth in online sales, and they're calling it the death of the high street. It may not be the absolute death of the high street, but definitely internet sales are going through the roof, and a lot of these warehouses are being rented out to small, medium and big internet retailers. So there's a huge demand if you want to buy and rent out. And there's also a huge demand, which I know B Property Company can help you with, if you want to rent a property in Manchester, a commercial property, whether it's a small one or a very big one. So, yeah, and long term...
Fantastic opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, we through another colleague, I'd like to call him a sister, she's from the Far East, through me and with herself, we bought a property about 7 years ago, which has been rented out since then. A big property in Manchester.
How big is that property, and how much do you rent it out for?
I think it was 3,500 square metre, around that. It's around £50,000-60,000 per year rent for the property, but we bought it for 900,000, and now today 2.5-3 million pounds.
That's brilliant figure.
Yeah, exactly. So
But I think you told me that she not just rent it out for one tenant, she rent it out for multiple tenants.
What she did.
The premises.
I was just telling Lewis before. My advice, if you wanted to put more money into a commercial property in Manchester, I'd buy a very big warehouse, and I would divide it up, and then I would rent each individual part off, or maybe even let's say it's cost £2 million or £3 million to purchase a big warehouse. I would divide it up and sell parts of it to recoup my money back and then rent the rest out. So you're taking, because it's definitely cheaper per square metre, per square foot to buy a very big one than it is for a smaller one. So that strategy of dividing big warehouses up is really lucrative, really lucrative.
It's like HMO in residential properties.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference between residential and commercial use. And what I mean by that is residential, they normally sign a 6 months lease. It's a minimum lease.
ASD.
Yeah. The normal average tenant in the UK is a year, maybe 2 years where they stay in that particular home. If you're very unlucky, it's 6 months. But when you get normally when you get a business to rent a commercial property off yourselves,
5 years or 10 years.
It's 5 years or 10 years. And there's another difference. A residential property, a house or a flat, you're responsible for, as a landlord, if you rent it out, you're responsible if the roof leaks, if there's a water leak or whatever. But with a commercial property, the tenant, after you've bought it, the tenant is responsible for the full upkeep of the building. So it's called a full repair and insuring lease. So in my view, if you was investing a decent amount of money in Manchester, commercial property is a much stronger, safer investment than a residential one.
係啊，咁我哋咧其實都經常收到有啲朋友就係話市中心嗰啲屋好唔好買啊？有冇投資啊？即係 residential 嘅。但係其實我哋見到就係市中心嘅 residential apartment 咧，其實已經好多嘅supply 咁。我哋就睇唔到話我有好好嘅未來嘅增長啦，但係反而呢啲可能係即係啱啱 Nigel 都有提及過，就係話曼城其實都係英國嚟講一個叫做物流嘅中轉中心，所有嘢好多做生意，尤其是eBay 啊 Amazon 買嘢咧，都係由可能東南亞 ship 過嚟港口度，臨尾就直接送到去曼城嗰度做分發嘅，咁所以好多嘅依啲公司咧對嗰啲倉庫係好大嘅 demand。咁佢有一個business partner 啦，之前可能有幾年間咧都升咗成3倍嗰個增幅啊，就係嗰個倉庫。咁所以大家可能覺得 commercial 而家疫情嚟講，可能有啲鋪頭做唔住，例如零售啊、餐飲啊，但係同時間對於網上尤其是係倉庫啊各樣嘅需求咧都係大增嘅，咁所以Nigel 都好建議，即係而家如果大家真係想可能比較多資金想投資，都係不如 commercial property 係好值得考慮嘅首選。OK。